So you guys are quite lucky because this is locomotive number 2. This is the locomotive that opened up Disneyland. So if you ever watch like the opening day video of Disneyland, Walt Disney is in this chair. The president of the Santa Fe Railroad is sitting in that chair, and then we have the governor of California sitting right where you guys are.
Oh, wow.
So he came in, walked down Main Street Station there, went to the town square, and did the opening day announcement to open Disneyland. He liked trains, Walt Disney, and had a small backyard railroad with a real speed locomotive that was 1/8 scale, which is the one you probably saw when you walked in the Main Street Station.
Yeah.
He had that going around his backyard, but then he realized, I want a bigger toy. So built this railroad when he was thinking about Disneyland. It's been running ever since for 70 years.
He was friends with another guy, I can't think of his name, but he has his own train.
Billy Jones?
Yeah, Billy Jones. He's got his own train park up in San Jose.
That's, up north, yeah.
Los Gatos, yeah.
Well, you go into the station, there's a picture of Walt standing in front of a big locomotive. He's in stripes holding an oil can. That's actually superimposed in front of his little locomotive. His artist got that picture, and that picture of him holding that oil can was actually when he visited Billy Jones.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, yeah, if you guys get time when you get back, check that picture out.
Yeah, Billy Jones had a caption, and it said something like, Walt would always call him up and say, hey, you want to play trains?
Yeah. You did this. Actually, someone just texted me. You're doing a book on Billy Jones or something like that. I wanted to know if I knew anything. I know a lot of the history around here, but not a whole lot. I just knew he came over to play with Walt's train. Don't stick your tongue out.
A lot of levers and knobs and stuff.
Literally.
So when you take a first look at it, it looks kind of overwhelming, right? There's a
Yeah,
lot
a
of
little
valves, there's a lot going on here. But really, Omar, my man over here, he's just adjusting 3 things. You want to show him? Yeah, this is my fuel stick. So this controls how much fuel goes into the box. This is my blower, which kind of pushes everything out the smokestack, the heat and everything else. And then my atomizer, which atomizes the fuel. This makes it into a spray, kind of like even, circularly burn evenly. And my water. This is my water injector. And that's how I put water from the tender inside here. It injects into the boiler in here. That's just kind of my job. How I keep have to keep the water a certain level, otherwise to be safe and make the steam and everything else.
Is that what keeps the PSI constant?
Yes.
At water level?
And he's juggling a whole lot. And actually, when we start here, you do about 5 weeks of training to become a firer, and that's all you do for about a year. And then after that point, you haven't, run into any issues or any trouble. You get a learner's permit to do this side. You do this side for about anywhere from like 4 to 6 months, and then finally get signed off as an engineer, and you get to do this side. So pretty soon, this guy's going to be learning how to become an engineer, and then half of our shift, he's going to operate it while I'm keeping an eye on him and also firing at the same time.
That's cool.
And then you do that for a while, and then you're good to go by yourself. Take a couple tests, and then you're good. So 1.5 to 2 years it takes to become an engineer out here. It's a lot of big responsibility. It's, it's a big machine you're running out here. A lot could go bad really quick. So, that's what my job is, to make sure everything is running smoothly. That way I can keep everything even and the pressure is good. Everything else in the water. Water is very important to keep in the boiler. So this is called a handhold, and we can open this up when it's not pressurized, of course. And look inside. There's a sheet of metal called the crown sheet, and that's the top of this firebox here. So that's where all of the heat transfer is taking place. And if that becomes exposed, not covered with water, that metal becomes superheated, it can crack, and boom, it can blow up. So there's a couple of fail safes to keep us from getting to that point. There's a low water solenoid, shuts off the fuel, but also if that goes off, this guy's obviously in big trouble. He's not paying attention. We have there's 3 fail safes. Actually, regulation is we only need 1 fail safe, but we have 3 here at Disney.
Yeah.
So it keeps everything pretty safe.
What are these levers here?
I'll be happy to explain that to you. We're about to leave. This next part of the river, we call this the river run. It's the hardest that the locomotive works. We go up a 2% grade.
Oh, wow.
We level out. It comes downhill. So you'll hear the locomotive working pretty good. Omar over here, once we get the clearance to leave, you'll see him bring his fire up really big. We're going to use a lot of steam. And we got a lot of turkey legs and churros and people back here that is going to try to keep us from going up that hill.
You'll feel the tug. It's just like trying to pull it.
Here we go.
I have to get a big fire going because I need the pressure. Otherwise, it just drops.
Got fast.
And it'll drop either way, but
There's a lot of metal inside here that's expanding and contracting as it heats up and cools down. That's why it's his job to try to keep that pressure at one particular number, which is 150. So that doesn't happen, because over the life of the boiler, that's going to really do some damage. So, all right, here we go, guys. This point it's been pretty flat. Once we hit this bridge over here, we're going to start going uphill, and not only that, we're going to be turning too. A lot of friction.
It dropped a little bit already.
The pressure dropping. This is actually our speed. Start going up the hill, it's going to slow me down. It might not seem like much, but this is a whole lot of weight that we are moving behind us.
Yeah.
You can feel it.
You can feel it kind of surging.
Yeah.
And you can actually hear it in the engines. We're using more steam so that the chumping is getting a little bit stronger. Normally we go a bit faster. We have a speed restriction going on right now. And I do my best to paint that at around 8 feet per second. Yellow line. Yellow. So there's a train up ahead at Toontown. They haven't moved out of the way, so it's giving us a yellow light. We can only proceed up to a certain point, and then we have to park the train. So hopefully it turns green, they get out of the way so that we can keep going into Toontown. Three trains on the track right now.
Yeah. Gotta be Fred Gurley, TK Holiday, and this
So they left Toontown. Now we can keep going. Now we're leveled out, and you start hearing the locomotive is not going to work as hard. We're starting to go downhill. Come into Toontown. Starting to put some water into the boiler. You hear that?
Yeah.
Sounds kind of like a water faucet. It's actually shooting water into the boiler. The other way side. The other way side. Thank you. downhill. So you'll start feeling it one coach, next coach, next coach. They kind of just going downhill with me. They're going to push this locomotive into the station.
Oh, and we get to take a private tour on the Grand Canyon diorama too. On the locomotive and the coaches.
My pressure is going down because I'm injecting cold water into the boiler, so it's ruining my pressure in there. So it's a game you have to play all day.
You're here. All right. So here comes this side. The explanation for this side. So you get to this side after about a year. You're an engineer. This is the engineer side. Always on in American locomotives, that side's the fire side. This is the engineer side. A lot of people often call us conductors, things like that. Conductors are the guys back there. They're loading the train. They're in charge of checking tickets and making sure that it doesn't get too rowdy back there. So we're the guys that are moving everything, and they are actually our bosses. Some of these college kids that are, doing their summer jobs. So we're more of the mechanical maintenance side of things. So, but we work together as a team. So it's their turn to work, get people off the train, on the train, and then let us know it's safe to go. And then we're in charge while we're moving. So really good teamwork.
Yeah.
So this right here, this big lever is called the throttle. It goes inside the boiler and up into the dome that's outside this window. It's kind of hard to see it. That window's a little dirty, but that's called the steam dome. The whistle's on top of there. We have safety valves that release too much. If we build up too much pressure inside the boiler, it'll release some of that pressure. But when we are ready to go, 2 whistles going forward, and I'll pull this guy out. So what that does is there's a valve called a poppet valve that has closes up. There's a big pipe that goes to the front of the boiler into the engines. So when I move that poppet valve, there's steam pressure being applied to the top and the bottom. So that it equalizes, and it's easy for my little arm to open that up and let all that steam pressure into that pipe, into the engines in the front. So the whole thing is called a steam locomotive, but we do have steam engines. Steam engines are in the front. We have 2 of them, one on this side and one on that side. They're moving pistons with steam, expanding, going back and forth. So I'm in charge of controlling how much steam goes into those engines. This guy, called the Johnson bar, or the reversing lever. Johnson bar is kind of a nickname. So when I go into that direction, which way do you think we're going to go?
Forward.
Forward, right? This way. See, I'm so petite, I could fit in between this.
That's
Reverse, right?
Reverse, yeah.
So this way, which way are we going to go?
Where is this going to be halted?
Up, we go to space.
No.
Yeah. So this is kind of neutral. It's not really neutral because if steam, it loves to expand. And even a little tiny bit. If you put it in the can, it will eventually move something. So if this throttle were to open and this was center, the locomotive is going to move slowly, but in one direction or the other, depending on where the pistons are at. So still not safe, but safer to leave it in the center. But we also have these guys. This is my brakes, or these are my brakes. These brakes are called Westinghouse brakes. They were invented in like the 1860s, 1870s. And back in the day, there was guys called brakemen that used to have to run on each coach and turn some wheels to apply the brakes, which is a very dangerous job. So this got rid of that job. And this is air brakes. So we apply air to the entire line and it pushes brake pads down on each coach. That sound right there is actually my pump that's steam driven. It's putting more air into the tanks when I need it. So that's chuffing is not actually the engine's working, but it's actually my steam driven pump working. it's a fine balance between all of that. You're trying to keep an eye on this, keep an eye on the road, make sure you have the right amount of steam. You don't want to go too fast or slow. That's why it takes so long to get really good at this side. And even after you're signed off as an engineer, you're still learning.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Coaches are still kind of playing the accordion, and it's a lot of fun. It's a really fun job. So that yellow light that we had, that train left a little late from this station, so they're at the next station. We're waiting for them to leave. That's why we got this red light over here. As soon as that turns green, that's going to let Trinity back here know that it's time to go. She'll let us know. If everyone's safe, ready to go, you guys are not flailing your arms around too much, we'll be okay.
How often do you guys have to oil everything?
Every 2 hours. A lot of moving parts. We have a really heavy oil called Vistec that we apply. So we keep an oiling schedule and then a watering schedule as well, which is about every 2 hours. So with this particular boiler, this is a newer, refurbished locomotive. It takes anywhere from like 30 to 40 gallons to go around Disneyland once.
Oh, wow.
So kind of like a bathtub full of water. But on some of our older ones, we get calcium and lime and scale built up on the boilers, so it takes longer for that and more water for that steam to kind of make its way through the system. They could be about 50, 60 gallons of water. That tender behind you guys holds about 550 gallons of water. And then the hatch right behind you is biodiesel fuel, which is what we burn.
Yeah.
Cooking oils. You guys go have fried chicken. If you look to the left, when we go through this crossing here, you'll see the roundhouse.
That's where engines, core, and fiber stored.
That's right.
There they are.
Or you won't find Loco 5 back there just yet. It's being refurbished right now. We always have one locomotive that's being totally refurbished. Or to kind of rotate.
Do you leave these trains hot all night, or you let them cool all the way down and then fill them back up the next day?
So this one's the third train. So this one will close the park. They'll be back in at around 12, 11 o'clock close, right? 9, around 11:30 to like 12 o'clock it'll back in. And we have a guy at 3 or 4 in the morning comes back and throws another fire in it, gets it ready for the next day. So they all have maintenance schedules. You need to crack open these boilers to check something. You obviously need to cool it down.
Yeah.
We'll need to let it cool down for about a day or two and then start working on it. And, yeah, they're always being protected. They're always being looked at. Very well taken care of. You ready? Hi guys.
Not too many people today, huh?
I'm talking a lot. Do you have any questions?
So Walt Disney drove this on opening day, and he was with the president of the Santa Fe and the governor of California.
Goodwin Knight and Fred Gurley.
And engine number 3 is named after him, right?
Yeah, because that was a friend of his. So of course he named the locomotive after him. Fred Gurley actually helped with the sponsorship that we had up until 1974.
Oh,
which
wow.
was with the Santa Fe Railroad, which is now the NSF. Your hat there. So, yeah, they had a sponsorship, and then in the 70s we switched to Amtrak, so there was no longer passenger service available. So Santa Fe was kind of like, nah, we don't offer passenger service anymore, so why are we going to sponsor Disneyland? There's a couple other things happening. But, yeah, that's pretty much that. We lost our sponsorship, but the cool thing is Walt Disney and his family owned and operated this railroad, the Mark Twain, the monorails, the horse-drawn streetcars. It was like a secondary company, and they collected all the ticket revenue and everything. And just in case Disneyland didn't do so well, he could take his trains and still go home. So it didn't work out. Luckily, it worked out for the best. Here we go.
Right into the Grand Canyon and Primeval World.
That's right.
Is that Mark Twain boat? Is that a real steam-powered?
Indeed it is. And, well, I gave you guys the path that we take, so you become a firer and engineer, and after a couple of years, you actually get to learn how to operate the Mark Twain, which you're out there by yourself. So it does take some time to learn, not only learn that, but to get the opportunity to do it, because it doesn't take a whole lot of guys to run that.
Yeah.
So, kind of build up some seniority and things like that. That's a blast, running that thing too. That's a big boiler.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
Yellow.
Yeah, surprisingly, I reached 22 minutes. Still hear the audio. First class.
They left Main Street, so now we're clear to keep going. We're crossing the bridge right now, going into another building. We're in the Grand Canyon building, now we're in the Primeval World building. So, on the other side of that wall is a bunch of offices and regular train company for a bunch of dinosaurs.
Vice President of Disney doesn't like this stuff.
All right. Try to make it much closer to Canada. Questions before the test?
Nope.
No questions.
No.
Your last chance.
You guys seem like you have a cozy spot when it's cold and rainy.
Oh, yeah.
not in the summertime.
Not in the summer. Next week there's rain, so it'd actually be pretty cozy. But yeah, last week we were suffering because it was, what, 90-something degrees out here. Yeah, it was pretty hot. bananas are about to step up.